My little story. I am in terrible pain. This indecision, confusion, and pain is almost unbearable. I am sure, like many of the other people's stories I have read here, this is not a unique story. Like many of the other people here, I just do not know what to do. My emotions and the swings in my thought processes are so dramatic that I just cannot get a handle on what is real, what is imagined, and what I want to do. It is easy to say decide what you want to do and go for it. That resolve is virtually impossible to grab and hold on to, though. I do not know what I want to do. In the meantime, my soul aches and I'm paralyzed by indecision. The thumbnail sketch. My wife and I are in our mid-30s and have been together for 10 years. Married for almost half that time. We own a home together. In Texas. We have a child. He is 3. My wife and I are very opposite, about as opposite as you can be. I struggled with a drinking problem most of my life and to some degree our entire relationship. It ran the course, to the point that I could not control it anymore. I quit drinking and have not had a drink for almost 2 years. During the time that I was at the rock bottom stage, I was neglectful to her. Emotionally, I did not give her the attention that she wanted and probably deserved, hence the understandable scenario to drive her to seek comfort elsewhere. She is a very needy person. Enter the opportunity. This person is and has been her friend if I have known her. I never felt threatened by this person, even though I was aware he had feelings for her. But she never reciprocated. They were just best friends. I have hung out with the guy a bunch of times, and we were surface friends. Because in his sales job he travels and is often out of the country or lives in another state for extended periods of time. This person is also very needy and clingy. And frankly, I always viewed him as sad. If my personality is that of an alpha, he would be exactly the opposite. So anyway, the rest of this story is commonplace from what I've read about other people's stories. Facebook addiction, constant secret texting, up to 10+ times per day, long calls in the middle of the night, and almost constant contact during the hours she is away from me. Secret gifts, suspicious behavior, no bonding or even intimate contact for 1+ years. Don't sleep in the same room. Wife withdrawn, doesn't want to work on our marriage, gave up, checked out. It all adds up very clearly, I have lots of circumstantial evidence. But no smoking gun. When you combine the entire story and timelines together, there really is no other answer. I've remained distant and tried not to exhibit any jealousy and given her space to come around, and I had always been very confident that I was the one, but we had some issues to work through. Has not happened. As a matter of fact, I think exactly the opposite has been happening. So, I have a million things to work through in my head and my soul is shattered into a million pieces. I just don't know what to do. I would expect that the first thing I need is confirmation of my suspicions. That I'm afraid I may never get. Obviously, I've confronted her about it. As expected, she just dismisses it and lies about most everything. Some of the things she tells me or explains away when I confront her about them are absolute lies. I have evidence of or so vague that there remains a way for her to wiggle out of them with another explanation. But I walk gently and I'm trying to be careful how much I reveal that I do know. Since I have made her aware that I know or suspect something is going on, she has become more guarded and seems to be more careful. She has a lot to lose, least important of which is our marriage. What is important to her is our home, our child, and the most important thing she is protecting is what other people think of her. That, like nothing else, seems to be the most important thing in the world to her. I have no one to talk to. I'm literally going crazy. I must know for sure. After some research, I found that they text, instant massage hundreds of times. Some days it is up to 50+ times a day. I have no access to her evil iPhone. She keeps it tied to her 24 HRS a day and is extra cautious about leaving it around. Literally, she guards it with her life. Comments: you should be prepared for what comes next as well. Some women will use the moment when they are caught to leave, especially ones that have already checked out. You are sitting around giving her space will never lead to anything but heartbreak for you. Enough about her though. What have you been doing to improve yourself? What steps have you taken to draw her back to you? If you are not sure what steps to take, look around this section at other stories. There are lots of useful links to help you get started. You state you are tired of the indecision. This is a 2-person marriage. Take steps to improve yourself, while continuing to show her your love and dedication. The progression, together or apart, puts pressure for a decision to be made. We are of course all hope for a resolution within your marriage, however. OP responds: as far as giving her space, I did not know what else to do. The space is what she asked for, and in my arrogance, I assumed she would come around and realize how much she loved me, as I mentioned, and as you pointed out, I guess I was wrong, and all I did was give her more justification for the affair and more space to fertilize the relationship with the OM. Regarding your question about what I have done to improve myself. As a person, it is night and day. The person I am today is nothing like the person I was 18 months ago. As far as working out and other image improvement activities, I probably haven't done enough. I began working out again after I quit drinking, etc., but after a few months that fell to the wayside. I've been so consumed with this and trying to raise our child along with a million other things, it was easy to quickly fall out of that. I'm trying not to knee-jerk or just react. There are so many emotions that swing so ferociously and essentially cripple my ability to think clearly and to even function normally. A question: who would be beneficial for me to try to speak with the people that influence her so much? Her siblings, parents, and best friends, all of which she vents to constantly. I believe now that much of her campaign to convince them of all these bad things I've done to her is partially to justify in her mind or even in their eyes why she is carrying on this emotional affair. I had kept my distance from them across the board, again, thinking she would come around. I have never told them how I feel about her or our marriage and had hoped that my actions would speak for me. Also, the FB thing, I have allowed that to be her space, her own private world where I never go. While I have an account, I religiously avoid that website. Partially because I read into some of the communication I read there between her and other people, including OM, that absolutely send me into a mental tailspin of anger, etc., would inserting myself into her worlds and sharing my feelings openly in front of these people who obviously have a tremendous influence over her help or hurt me. I have been very careful about who I've shared my suspicions with. It is past suspicion, but I have spoken with my closest friends. At this point, I do not intend to share anything about the emotional affair with anyone else. I meant sharing the fact that I love her and there is very little I will not do to save my marriage. I am usually fiercely private about marriage issues and things I feel should be kept between a man and his wife. I also have not felt a need to defend myself or campaign to anyone about our issues, but whatever. This is in very stark contrast to what she does. I do not know how this sounds, but I do not really care what other people think. I do not know if I should begin caring more seriously about what they think, as they obviously influence what my wife thinks and does. I have told her on multiple occasions that I want to save the marriage. She is completely unresponsive. I've told her and showed her my frustration that I cannot do it alone. If she does not participate, I am spinning my wheels. Spin your wheels long enough and hard enough. All the rubber comes off. That leads to anger, frustration, and hurt. All advances, physical or verbal, are met with rejection. I have done many of the things you mentioned regarding household chores, massages, etc., regarding bonding. That is not happening, has not for 18 months plus. When I touch her, she cringes. I always get the distinct feeling she felt she was cheating on someone, of course. I have been assured that she just needs space and does not know what she wants. I am broken. Most of this is out of my hands, and I realize that everything I do works against me. This is like quicksand. I understand how unattractive being needy or insecure is. Believe me, I do everything I can not to appear that way, but to do that I have to create some distance. That distance also works against me. While I am a strong person and I do understand the psychology of what is taking place, I am only human, most times. I cannot endure the hurt well enough to remain in character and be the loving, understanding, devoted person some of these recipes seem to call for. Add the dynamic of her being shut off and absolutely no chance of progress or reconciliation with the OM in the picture, but no realistic chances of removing him from the picture as things stand. I am just losing it inside, every day. A little at a time. Logically, I must move on, but I promised. I feel responsibility to my wife, my son, and above all myself not to give up. If I do, I failed all of us. That almost sounds pathetic just writing it. Something inside me screams, don't be stupid. Wake up. Even knowing that my thought process is highly flawed, that does not give me the freedom to act against it. How messed up is that? This is ridiculous. The biggest problem I have is that my wife will not admit this emotional affair. Physical affair. No way, no chance. I have confronted her about it. She absolutely denies it. Just friends, etc. My confrontations are direct, but I do not and will not show all my cards. Fact is, I do not have enough cards to absolutely and undeniably bring this thing into the light. As is standard, my confrontations have caused them to be more cautious. I have way more than enough to confirm that this is a fact, but no smoking gun. Without being able to get this big gorilla in the light, there is no next step. As I mentioned, I know this other man, we have mutual acquaintances, and he was my friend. I have never confronted him with any of this. I am hesitant to do this in fear that it will only cause more denial, but my gut is burning to set off those fireworks. Regarding the suggestions of technical solutions, I have explained above why these are not a realistic option. Particularly with them on guard now, phone is always glued to her. Furthermore, I just noticed that the phone suddenly has a lockout installed. What do? Let it play out, give more space, therefore further enabling this to continue and possibly allowing a more solid and deniable scenario to be concocted. Just sit back like a doormat and wait. I think most of you that have struggled with this hell know that this is not possible for me. I need to know. I take that back, I know. I need to prove so I can move on to the next step. She appears willing to just let it go. As I have read, this fog thing is very strong. She is blocked off. If I initiate the divorce proceedings and follow through, chances are she follows along, and that eliminates ever having to admit the emotional affair took place. Everything falls back on me. I'm such a terrible person, and everything is my fault. I am almost sure by doing that it would play right into her hands. She would like nothing better than for me to just let go and push a divorce. Why wouldn't she? Gives her all the outs emotionally. She gets to pursue this emotional affair in the light. I'm the bad guy, poor her. She has already laid tons of groundwork in the background to make me the villain. No. That just will not do. I am doing what I can to improve myself, if it is regarding improving myself as a man and getting back to the person that's always been inside of me. I am almost constantly researching and reflecting on what I have done and how I can fix me and be a good father and husband. If I thought that I was incapable of being a great husband, I wouldn't be fighting so hard to save this. Above all, I do want her to be happy. I've done a truckload of healing as a person. I've been on a journey. Alone, it has been a tough journey, and I'm sure it will continue to be a tough road. I am prepared for that. Giving up, while scary, is by far the easier thing to do right now. If this is regarding improvement of looks, health, etc., I'm working on that and will continue to work on it. I have made an effort to be more aware of my appearance. New clothes, etc. I have lost 15 pounds since I quit drinking over a year ago. I know there is more work to do. I will continue to do it. I had an interesting couple day. I don't know that anything has changed, but I had to do something. So I did, and finally decided that I had to speak to her parents and at least make them understand how I felt and who I am as a man. I decided that I had to share what I knew, or more accurately, I shared it in the context of what I thought I knew, omitting why I knew. Long and short of it was that I told them I knew there was someone else, having no idea if they knew. And I did not know what I could do, that I loved their daughter, and I made a promise. While it would be easier to cut my losses and walk away, which is exactly what I think she would like me to do, I cannot. Not just because I love her. That really has very little to do with it. Because I have a responsibility to my son and to myself. I made a promise. That promise was not just to her. It was to me. I spoke to my wife after the conversation. She admitted as much as I will ever be able to expect her to admit. That yes, she has been talking to the other man for a long time, and that it had gone too far, and that she does love him. But he was there for me when I needed someone's stuff. Beyond that, I could not get any details about exactly what has been done, said, etc. I am not sure at this point how important that is. I think that it may eventually become very important that I know, right now. I just know what my soul already knew. That yes, there is someone else. As far as our conversation about us and our future, not much difference in that conversation, more of the same conversation that we have had many times in the last year or two. That I heard her. She doesn't know what she wants. Brick wall. Exactly where I go from here, I do not know. Just a quick update, there are obviously a lot more details, thoughts, feelings, etc. involved with what is happening. They are a jumble right now. The only clarity I have is a resolve not to quit my family. What I did not include in my last update was that I sent the other man an email, stating simply that we needed to talk. I got a reply that he would call me. He left a message on Sunday, really simple. Hey, how's it going? Just returning your call. I have not spoken to him yet. Aside from having the flu all week and being very sick and not being able to get my head straight, I have not decided how to handle this call. We do need to talk. And I will put it out there, exactly how I should do that, confrontational, adversary. Articulately explaining what he is doing and the consequences, collateral effects, etc. I said simply that I loved my wife and would do anything to save my family. He replied with shock and denial, asking me what I was talking about and being indignant that I would accuse him of anything. Your wife and I are just friends, said he wanted to talk, so I did, more of the same, denial, etc. But I do not know what else I would have expected, while I'm certain my wife was aware. I spoke with him. She never confronted me about it or even brought it up, did accuse me of snooping on her and said she felt like I was always watching her. She said she felt like a child being watched by her parents and didn't need to feel that way. I really do not like the person that this situation is turning me into. We spoke last night and I confronted her again. She seemed to be expecting it, or rather instigating me. Anyway, she admitted to everything. Everything I suspected. She is having an emotional affair with the person I mentioned. This has been ongoing for a long time. Apparently they have been cyber boyfriend-girlfriend. I say cyber because, as I mentioned, the communication is all text, phone, etc. He has not been in town for over a year. She assured me that she has never physically been with him. Whether I believe that entirely, I do not know. It is hard to know what to believe. They are in love with each other. She doesn't know what she wants. She is torn. I asked her, what do you want me to do about this? Her reply was, I don't know. I guess much of this is textbook for affairs, and her being deep in the fog does not feel as cut and dry and textbook when it stomped into my soul though. This conversation was last night. I haven't done anything yet. I'm frankly too overwhelmed to think straight, and I don't trust making decisions when I'm this emotionally compromised. Obviously, I'm incredibly hurt, angry, and confused. Please talk to me. Do I need to strike while the iron is hot? Is it imperative that I move quickly and decisively? 3 things I think are important and I should mention. 1. While I'm crippled with pain and indecision, deep down I do love my wife and I do want to do everything I can to save my marriage and family. 2. She claims that no one knows, her family doesn't know. I mentioned I had told her parents what I suspected. When they spoke with her about it, she tells me she assured them the same as she assured me, that nothing was happening. She said yes, she lied to them about it. They believed her and said we didn't think so. 3. This other person, my friend, is in the military. When I said he traveled, that's why. Because of that fact, I do have that card, but I don't want to play that card if I'm not forced to. The military frowns upon this type of thing, big time. Like military code of conduct, it takes everything in me not to confront him about this now that the cat's out of the bag and denial is not an option. We obviously live together and own a home, legally. I have been advised that leaving the family home is one sure way I could get screwed legally as far as who gets the house. If I were to leave the family home in legal terms, that constitutes abandonment, and she could easily leverage that into being awarded the house if this situation ends in divorce. Leaving is not an option. Natural ending of the affair, not going to happen. This opus is undoubtedly very in love with my W. This has been ongoing for a long time, and this person is very needy, clingy. He is not going to walk. He was engaged once before. When his fiancée cheated on him and left the relationship, he tried to commit suicide. I just don't know how he will handle this breakup, but I can assure you it will not be pretty, and he will not be a man about it and walk away. She couldn't have chosen a worse person to attach to. Consequences. The problems with our relationship stemmed from my emotional and physical unavailability. I've been trying this distance thing for some time, and it's only made things much worse. Aside from enabling the extramarital relationship and pushing her closer to him as she seeks comfort and companionship, it further cements her belief that I will not be there for her. This distance thing has done the exact opposite of what I would have hoped. Do not think that is a good idea. I am drafting this letter today and have been thinking it over. My only concern or sticking point is, I have looked around and found the sample consequence letters online. Some are terrific and I'm sure may be useful when I get to this stage. Does anyone else have a link to disclosure letters, samples of the letter to send to friends and family about the affair? I just can't decide how far to throw this out there. I do not want to humiliate my wife. More to the point, I don't know if I want to humiliate her family, which is a real concern. They are old-fashioned, and I'm not sure exactly how alienated they would be if I were to send this letter to the world. I'm just having trouble with this. I have spoken with my employer about the whole situation and let them know. As advised, what is going on and the effect it has been having will likely continue to affect my work. As far as sending this to her employer, she is a school teacher, or sending this to the other man's family or employer, military, I just don't know, regarding our friends and her personal friends, many of which she has distanced from me and no doubt convinced what a terrible guy I am. I'm not sure how far to push this. I am acting. I wrote the letter and sent it to all our closest friends. I also spoke personally with her parents again and contacted her sister. I don't know how this will turn out when the dust settles, but so far, it's a mixed bag. The parents and sister thing was a disaster. They were very defensive, and the theme of the conversation was mixed between blaming me, justifying the affair, which they must have said, but it's not physical, it's just emotional about 100 times, and urging me to give up. It's fine to walk away. Same with the sister. She does not like me and never has. She was also quite hurtful and attacked me continuously. Again, more of the maybe it just wasn't meant to be stuff. Those conversations were painful and very dejecting. I guess I should have expected all that. Deep down, I did, but I said it. I explained how I feel and what I'm trying to do. It might end up doing more harm than good, but I said what I had to. The letters to our close friends seem to be working better. They have almost all gotten involved and have asked my wife to talk. They want to help, actually. They told her, the wives in our group of close friends, 3 or 4 of them, that they have arranged an intervention, and that they want her to come meet with all of them to talk. Her sister, who I spoke with and disclosed my feelings about this to and whom I explained does not like me and has made clear that she has never thought I was the guy for her sister, wants me to forward the email I sent to my friends to her. I have told her exactly what I said in the email when I spoke with her, and she made clear she does not support me or the marriage and would just assume I just walk away. She was and I guess still is very concerned with what I said in this email. I had intended on sending it to her when I sent it to my other friends. I just didn't have her email address at the time. When she asked me, obviously my W told her about this. What is with this email you're sending to everyone telling them my sister is having an affair? I explained, again, what it said and offered to send it to her. She said if you want to. It doesn't matter, now today she is asking me for it. How do I handle that? She is obviously not going to support me in my efforts to save my marriage and is clearly more concerned I am slandering her sister or something like that. Do I? I don't want to alienate her family any more than necessary here. They are an extremely important part of her life. But they are not going to help me here. Regarding informing my W's employer, I cannot risk putting her job, career at risk, the hornet's nest with her family who has made it clear they are not supporting me in these efforts and making excuses for her all the while. Is stirred up as badly as can be imagined. They are a very close family and I do not know if I can fight a full onslaught campaign against me coming directly from them. She is very humiliated and very angry with me, which as you have pointed out was to be expected. She believes that I am trying to hurt her and has accused me of manipulating everyone around me. She believes that everything I do is manipulation. No matter what I say or what I do, I'm accused of manipulation. Regarding informing his family, employer, that is the next step. I do not know who his parents are nor how to reach them. And from what I understand, I don't know how much that will matter. I have been told that they are estranged to some degree. That is not going to stop me from trying. I am sending him a letter informing him to cease contact with my wife. Verbally I have already done that and he says, via text, won't talk to me anymore. Is avoiding me. He is backing off until we figure out what we are going to do, which obviously I don't believe. Even if he is, I'm certain he is playing the I'll be waiting when you decide card with her. I need to find a way to sever it or try on his side. The pressure on my W's side is being applied. Other man claimed that he will not contact her again until we figure out our situation and she figure out what she wants. She claimed in our last conversation that he has not contacted her in almost a week. That he does not want to talk with her right now. Whether or not I believe either of them about anything is a whole different story. I just do not know what to believe. I'm not sure which way is up and which way is down at this point. She is clearly going through fog withdrawal. We got into an agreement and conversation this weekend that prompted me to tell her that I have done everything that I can and that I am just about done, to which I got, well then what are we going to do? Clearly, she was prompting me to suggest divorce and push in that direction. She has done this a number of times recently. I told her that I understood what she was going through and where she was going with that. I tried to make her understand that I knew she was going through withdrawal and that most of the stages and reactions that she has had during this crisis were common for people that were going through what is happening. She acted like she really wanted help and wanted to understand these things that are happening to her, us. I showed her the link which was posted above that outlines the common stages of female adultery and some of the feelings women commonly have during. She seemed receptive and even replied with "So. This is normal. These feelings. I don't know what good or bad showing her these things was. I have an overwhelming instinct to try to help her and help her understand that I know what she must be going through, despite her showing very little empathy for what I am enduring. I do not know what to read into our interactions the remainder of the weekend. I have been right there the entire time, and I have made sure to be myself and do the little things. I feel like I was supportive and continued to be a good father and did not withdraw, which is my instinct and coping mechanism when faced with such enormous pain and seeing that she clearly has not decided and is clearly on the fence about what she wants. The interaction still seemed forced, like she was going through the motions but was not there. She was polite and tried to talk with me. Small talk, but I got the feeling she just doesn't like confrontation, and above all I think that she doesn't want to hurt me and would love it if through this we could remain friends regardless. Right after the above text she sent, she called me a few hours later. A few minutes ago. She has been going out of her way to include me in things that involve my son the last week, sending me videos of him while he is playing games while I was out of the house, having coffee, talking with my best friend about this situation and interacting with other friends who are offering me much needed support, sending me emails about events that involve my son, sending me pics of a bike we are buying him for Christmas. Well, she asked me when she called why I was acting weird. She said, "Why are you acting strange?" I'm trying here. I'm really trying. When you act strange, it's hard for me. Admittedly, I may be guarded. Things I've continued to uncover have caused me to be very skeptical. I've been lied to repeatedly for so long it's difficult not to be. I do not feel like she is trying. If anything, she may be trying or saying she is just to be able to say she is. This happened when we went to a marriage counselor about a year ago. We went 3 times. All of which were really a joke, aside from the counselor being just awful. The entire thing seemed like it was me trying to get through to her and her venting about all the things I've done to her emotionally. We were not working on anything. It seemed she was just explaining why she was not working on it. It was just disastrous and very frustrating. More brick wall. Obviously, come to find out, she was having this affair during that entire time frame, but a month after the fact she said, "Well, I tried marriage counseling." My comment: maybe it just can't be fixed. This is a short series, with a slow start, but it has a good ending as well. So sub and bell, enjoy your Thanksgiving and prepare for part 2.